It's October 25th, 2023. It's This Week in Comics. Welcome everybody to October 25th, 2023. It's This Week in Comics. Our handle is at This Week in Entertainment. If it changes, I'll let you guys know. We've got a ton of number ones to get to, a bunch of ongoing series to get to. We got 2 trade paperbacks to review this week. It's a monster week because next week's small. Let's go. Edenwood, number 1, written with art by Tony S. Daniel. Tony's best known for his work on Batman, Teen Titans, Noctera, Deathstroke, plus he's done a ton of covers. With art by Natalia Marquez. Natalia's best known for Rogue Sun, Last Flight Out. A ton of covers. Natalia's best known for Rogue Sun, God fucking damn it. Natalia's best known for her work on Rogue Sun, Last Flight Out, Last Space Race, plus a ton of other covers. In Edenwood number 1, a group of friends play along a magical border that's ever expanding when all of them are swallowed up. Ryan, who's mostly a loner who's in love with Adelaide, gets swallowed up but is saved by a demon hunter. 3 years on, he's still searching for her, but now he's a demon hunter. A mishap ends up bringing him face to face with old friends, and now the mystery of Edenwood is on. This book is similar to the Cullen setup in that it's a bunch of friends getting swallowed up or going into a magical land. However, this book has way more of a fantasy slant to it. The art's good, the setup's good. Edenwood number 1 is an 8 out of 10. Universal Monsters Dracula number 1, written by James Tynion IV. Tynion's best known for his work on Detective Comics, The Woods, Batman, World Tree. He did all the Ninja Turtles and Batman crossovers as well. With art by Martin Simmons. Martin's best known for his work on Jessica Jones' Blind Spot, The Department of Truth, Punk's Not Dead, plus a ton of other covers. I'm not exactly sure if this is a reinterpretation or an adaptation of any of the Dracula stories because I'm not a big Dracula guy. But in this story, Renfield arrives in a town and is immediately arrested because 14 people are dead off a ship. Now, Renfield is equal parts creep and crazy, and when a doctor calls for his blood to be replaced, Renfield calls out to his master, spelling doom for the town. A creepy watercolor world combined with a truly memorable Renfield does have me intrigued. Universal Monsters Dracula number 1 is a 7 out of 10. Alan Scott Green Lantern number 1, written by Tim Sheridan. Tim's best known for his work on Teen Titans Academy, Flashpoint Beyond, Master of the Universe Revelation, Shazam, and many more. With art by Sean Tomey. Tormey's best known for their work on Superman, Son of Kal-El, Lazarus Planet, Revenge of the Gods, and plenty more covers. And art by Matt Herms. Matt's best known for his work on Sonic the Hedgehog, Mega Man, Black Adam, Stargirl and the Lost Children, Jughead the Hunger, and many more covers. Alrighty guys, we kick off this comic in 1936 where Alan Scott and the Army Corps of Engineers are trying to capture the Crimson Flame. Now, Alan is in love with another soldier named Johnny, and they have to hide who they are. They attempt to capture the flame, but Johnny is actually ripped away by the Crimson Flame. Then, 5 years later, J. Edgar Hoover shows Alan pictures of him and Johnny together and kind of blackmails him into heading up the new JSA. When an attempted bank robbery occurs, Alan arrives, but he finds a both drowned and burned Johnny. Now, it's at that point that the narration is finally revealed to be Alan's narration from inside Arkham Asylum, where he's getting conversion therapy. Honestly, I wasn't very sure about this being added into the new Golden Age, but whew, it is a great number 1. The art is on point, the story's on point, everything continues to chug along. Alan Scott Green Lantern number 1 is an 8.5 out of 10. Amazon's Attack number 1, written by Josie Campbell. Josie's best known for their work on Wonder Woman, Night Terror's Wonder Woman, The New Champion of Shazam, and many more. With art by Vasco Gorgiev. Vasco's best known for their work on Deja Thoris, Betsy Braddock, Captain Britain, Aquaman and the Flash Void Song, and many other covers. Right off the bat, I would say if you're reading Wonder Woman, read Wonder Woman #2 because the backup story sets up this issue. Nubia and the leaders of the other tribes of the Amazon arrive in New York to try to broker peace. Something inside the building ends up possessing the security and some of the government officials, and they all end up attacking the Amazons, who are forced to defend themselves. However, it looks like the Amazons are the ones who are attacking. Miss Marvel does offer a save, but by the end, all of them are considered enemies of the state. Not all tie-ins to events or series are necessary, so time will tell how necessary this one is, but as a #1, it actually works really well. It's beautifully rendered and it's got action and logic to boot, plus it has one of the best splash pages of the week this week. Amazon's Attack #1 is an 8 out of 10. Captain Marvel #1, written by Alyssa Wong. They're best known for their work on Deadpool, Star Wars Dr. Aphra, Spirit World, Iron Fist, Arrow, and many more. With art by Jan Bazalda. Best known for their work on Mr. and Mrs. X, Spider-Man, Red Goblin, Legion of X, Loki, Winter Guard, plus a ton of covers. And art by Brian Valenza. Brian's best known for his work on Witchblade, The Invincible Iron Man, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Insects, and plenty more covers. While on the streets of New York City, Carol's actually attacked by Omen, a being who keeps pulling her to the negative zone and draining her of her power. Now, there's also a thief named Una who's setting out to steal the Negabands from Janice Vell. However, Omen shows up and kills Janice Vell. Una bonds with the Negabands, and so Omen knows the only way to get him off her is to kill her, and she throws her from the building. However, once Carol and her both activate their Negabands, they switch places. Carol battles Omen, but Omen ends up taking Janice Vell's body and reanimating him, bringing him back to life. Now guys, I have never read a Captain Marvel series. I've never even watched any of the movies, TV shows, anything like that. However, I truly did enjoy this #1. It was really good. It's a #1 that drops you into the action and says, hold on. Captain Marvel #1 is an 8.5 out of 10. Predator vs. Wolverine #2, written by Benjamin Percy with art by Ken Lashley and Andrea DeVito. In this issue, Wolverine actually battles the Predator during his Weapon X days, and while most of the team is killed off, Wolverine ends up setting a trap that allows him to escape. However, a few years later, the Predator returns and kills everyone inside a Weapon X facility and approaches an unconscious and hooked up to machines, Wolverine. This was a super entertaining #2, and the focus of the comic comes into play here as we now know we're gonna see Logan battle through all different time periods in his life and battle against the Predator. Predator vs. Wolverine #2 is an 8 out of 10. Wonder Woman #2, written by Tom King with art by Daniel Sampier and Tamiya Mori. Now guys, Tom King's a bit in this one as we tell parallel stories from Diana's past and her present, where we learn in the past that the Amazon who attacked in the bar, her name is Emily, and in the present, Steve Trevor and the US Army attack as she whips their ass. The backup story actually gets to it a little bit quicker and sets up Amazon's attack, which actually had a better issue for me this week for sure. Alright guys, here's the thing. I love Tom King. I truly do. I have so many of his hardcovers. I collect so many of his series. But Captain Marvel #1 did way more to get into the actual story of what that comic's gonna be in one issue than Wonder Woman's kind of done in 2 issues. Tom likes to deal in this vague and I'm smarter than everybody and all these things, which is great because he is, and he crafts beautiful stories at times. However, with Danger Street and with this book, there's an overuse of narration. Quit telling me things, show me things. In fact, some of those panels would have worked 1,000 times better if you took the narration off the panel and just let us watch it. Wonder Woman #2 is not bad. It's a 7.5 out of 10, but I'm getting a little weary on some of this stuff. The Penguin #3, written by Tom King with art by Rafael De La Torre and Marcelo Maiolo. In this issue, Oswald recruits all the former members of the Force of July who have all been broken and battered in different ways. The Force of July agreed to be his squad, and so with the help Oswald, the Force of July, Oswald's readying his return to Gotham. Astounding art and logical plot progression, even if it's slow, still works really well in this issue. The Penguin #3 is an 8 out of 10. The Plot Holes #3, written and drawn by Sean Murphy. Ed Rasur and Surge all get their backstories explored in this issue, and it's actually the villains who prove to be way more interesting, as I have issues or some problems with Ed's backstory. Some of what happens with Ed works, but some of it doesn't. I'm not sure if the logic of it is going to hold through. However, Surge wants to end his life, and if he can't, he's going to end the program. I'm actually starting to enjoy the story and the art a lot more as it provides more thrills than frustrations. The Plot Holes number 3 is an 8 out of 10. Marvel Unleashed number 3, written by Kyle Starks with art by Juan Gedeon and Yen Nitro. All the pets battle demons while in Blackheart's kingdom, as Blackheart intends to use Lockjaw to send a demon army to Earth and take over. Redwing, D-Dog, Chewie, Bubs, Throg, every one of the pets works to stop him, however they fail. Is D-Dog living every dog's nightmare? It's still fun, it's still cute, it never tries to be more than it is. Marvel Unleashed number 3 is an 8 out of 10. Tales of the Titans number 4, written by Andrew Constant with art by Ted Brandt and Rose Stein and Lee Luffridge. In this issue, Gar deals with the trauma of being shot in the head by Deathstroke in Dark Crisis number 1. He actually ends up getting captured by Anthony Lupus, a werewolf who wants to use Gar to change back and kind of be a normal human being again. However, Gar is able to fight through his self-doubt and escape and stop Lupus from achieving his goal. This issue had great art, and it actually was the best story of the Tales of the Titans, as it was a story about emotional continuity, and while I do think other issues tried to achieve the same thing, I actually think they did it kind of poorly. Tales of the Titans number 4, specifically about Beast Boy, is an 8.5 out of 10. Void Rivals number 5, written by Robert Kirkman with art by Lorenzo De Felici and Patricio Del Pecci. Derek is tortured as the Zertonians want some information from him, and so Lila's keeping a secret, a kind of really secret about being a keeper of the light. I'm not sure exactly, but Derek and us are bound to find out, as Derek is rescued in this issue, but he has quite the ultimatum for his rescuers. Also, I'm beyond curious where Skuxoid and that storyline's going as well. The plot thickens in Void Rivals number 5 as more characters, more motivations color out this universe. Void Rivals number 5 is an 8 out of 10. Green Arrow number 5, written by Joshua Williamson with art by Sean Isaacs, Ande Parks, Phil Hester, and Romulo Fajardo Jr. Connor enters the time machine to try to find Ollie, and Amanda Waller's up to something as well, but what exactly? Future Ollie is sussed out by real Ollie, but then real Ollie ends up getting hurtled through time. When he lands, he ends up running into a bunch of green arrows from a bunch of different time periods, with one of them shooting him straight in the chest with an arrow. I'm beyond intrigued as this story continues. Now, I think old and new fans alike will enjoy this. Old fans might get more references because I don't know too many of them, but man, is this series good. Green Arrow number 5 is an 8 out of 10. Batman, the Brave and the Bold number 6. The first story, Batman, Pygmalion. Story art and letters by Gillum March with colors by Erev Prianto. This is an amazing story where Batman gets hurt and he wakes up with amnesia and has no idea who he is, but is rescued by a nurse and her little daughter. Aurora and her mom tend to his wounds and help nurse him back to health as she teaches him what it means to be Batman. But is this real? What does the bracelet mean? I'm excited for this story. I thought the first part delighted. Batman Pygmalion Part 1 is an 8 out of 10. Stormwatch Down with the Kings Part 6, written by Ed Brisson, with art and color by Jeff Spokes. All of the setups and lies and deceit from all the different parts of this story are kind of paid off here. Waller is running the team, and the team did get all the weapons necessary to take down the Justice League, but this is not a very satisfying conclusion to this story for me. I do think it'll have a part to play for when the Justice League gets back together, but this is more of an ending that's like, who knows what the future could hold. I did like the art a lot. Down with the Kings Part 6 is a 6.5 out of 10. Hardcore Second Life Part 3, written by Rob Williams, with art by Stefano Landini, and colors by Antonio Fabella. Finally, this story sucked until this part, but oh, what a part. Amelia's been playing coy this whole time. She knows everything about Waller. She knows that it's Captain Boomerang who killed her and that it was probably Waller who gave the order. And now she's on a mission and has the Captain directly in her sights. Hardcore Part 3 is an 8.5 out of 10, the best part of the story so far. The Performance, written by Sean Lewis with art by Javier Fernandez. Bruce ends up going to see a play that promises to reveal all of the Batman's secrets. Fake death, a bunch of goons, a flair for the dramatic. This theater story has a lot going on in it. I've liked all the black and white stories, and this is no different. The Performance is an 8 out of 10. One of our final issues this week is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Stranger Things number 4. It's one of our final issues because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Stranger Things is over. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Stranger Things, written by Cameron Chittick with art by Farrell Paniche and Sophie Dodson. Now guys, this was a largely enjoyable crossover that logically paired the Stranger Things cast with the Ninja Turtles. When the Hawkins kids run into demon dogs and demon dog mousers while in New York City, there's only one group that can help them solve the mystery: the Ninja Turtles. Baxter Stockman is the big bad in our world, while the Mind Flayer's doing his mind flaying stuff in the Upside Down. I'm not going to go into excruciating detail here because it's just a fun crossover and you should definitely check it out. Was it cheesy at times? Sure, so is pizza. But this comic did have heart, which is sometimes really hard to achieve in the comic book industry. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Stranger Things was better than it had any right to be and is a 7.5 out of 10. Alrighty guys, last but not least is The Unstoppable Doom Patrol number 7. That's because The Unstoppable Doom Patrol is over. The Unstoppable Doom Patrol, written by Dennis Culver with art by Chris Burnham and Brian Reber. In this series, the Doom Patrol are trying to help and protect people whose metagene was activated by the Lazarus event. Peacemaker and Waller are working to infiltrate the Doom Patrol, and on the other side of things, Monsieur Mala actually betrays Brain and joins General Immortus. Chief is now the new main personality of Crazy Jane, but Cliff does miss his friend. Now, through the course of events, General Immortus actually turns himself into the Eternal Flame, and he turns into the new Candlemaker. Now, the Doom Patrol battle the Brotherhood of Evil, the Eternal Flame, and they end up knocking him into another dimension where he lands on what appears to be a dead Danny the Street. It's there that General Immortus, aka the new Candlemaker, aka the Eternal Flame, meets the Batwoman, who laughs. Now, Peacemaker does do his best to show up to Doom Patrol headquarters and cause havoc at the end. However, Degenerate ends up getting super powered up with anger and destroying all of Peacemaker's toys. Here's where I gotta get a little bit critical with this series, though, because I do like the Doom Patrol. I like the weird. I like the nonsense. These people are equal parts broken as well as just individuals. It's crazy cool what they do with some of these characters. Now, with all that being caveated, I'll say this storyline, if it was an ongoing series, I'd give an 8, maybe even an 8.5, in the hopes that the threads that weren't followed would be picked up later on in the series. However, it just ended at number 7, and therefore it's kind of detrimental to the score because the story, if you read it 1 through 7, comes across a little disjointed and reads more like it was an ongoing series that got canceled early. I like this creative team. I like their energy. I like their stories. I hope they get to tell more. And I really wish this book was ongoing. However, as its own thing, as its own collected 1 through 7, The Unstoppable Doom Patrol is only a 7.5 out of 10. It feels too disjointed to score it much higher. Alrighty guys, the trade paperback for Hallows' Eve comes out today, and I offered a review on issues number 1 through 5. Let's check it out. Hallows' Eve by Erica Schultz, Brian Reber, and Michael Dowling. Jean Gaubio is given a bag full of masks, each with its own set of abilities. In this series, she turns into a werewolf and during that time accidentally turns security guard Simon Carter into a werewolf with the werewolf mask. Maxine Danger and the Beyond Corporation capture Simon in order to study him. However, Janine breaks in and manages to get Simon out and reverse the lycanthropy using the mask. However, Maxine Danger does not give up that easily. During Janine, Simon, and her ally Marcus's escape from the Beyond Corporation, her masks get scattered. However, Janine does manage to defeat all the security guards that put masks on. It comes down to Janine versus Maxine while Marcus and Simon infiltrate the Beyond Corporation. They help disable Beyond's weapons, and Janine defeats Maxine, resulting in Maxine's arrest. Turns out Simon gave Janine a little bit of faith in humanity that she was lacking. At the conclusion, Janine goes to the Limbo Embassy to visit her lover Ben Reilly, where she reveals she has a plan to get him out. This was a super well done and fun limited series involving a Halloween-themed spider heroine. I truly enjoyed this character. I'm looking forward to the Amazing Spider-Man annual and the Halloween special one-shot. Hallows' Eve, the miniseries, gets an 8 out of 10. As you guys can tell, I did enjoy that miniseries quite a bit, which actually brings us to our final issue. Hallows' Eve, The Big Night, written by Erica Schultz, with art by Michael Downing and Brian Reber. This one shot is super fun. Janine's near a college party when a bunch of magic turns a bunch of students into monsters. She reaches into her bag of masks where normally she has the monster masks, but instead she has superhero masks and ends up becoming Captain America and the Hulk to save the day. I like this character a lot. I like Halloween. I like this story. The story and the art were fantastic. Hallows' Eve, The Big Night, number 1. This one shot, 8.5 out of 10. Alright guys, the trade paperback for Hellcat comes out this week as well. Let's check out my review from earlier in July. Hellcat by Christopher Cantwell, Alex Lins, and KJ Diaz. Patsy's boyfriend, Spalding Grantham, was brutally murdered. So Patsy, having her powers slightly diminished and clouded right before his murder, decides to team up with Sleepwalker in order to solve the mystery. Spalding was working with Patsy's ex, Damon Hellstrom, who was stuck in the form of a plush fuzzy bunny. Now, originally, Spalding was working with Blackheart in order to make a door, but he changes it to make a true form door for Damon Hellstrom. Patsy finally recovers some of her memories and remembers a brutal battle with said demon, Blackheart. However, Damon shows up having gone through the true form door, all-powerful, looking hellish, and decides to defeat Blackheart. He abducts Patsy and thrusts her through the true form door, where she emerges as the demonic Hellcat. Patsy's demonic version gives in to her worst instincts, and she works with Damon in order to defeat Sleepwalker. They manage to destroy his Imaginator, however, that wakes up his human proxy, Rick. The destruction of the Imaginator shows Rick that Spalding actually went insane when seeing Patsy's true form, similar to what she did when she saw Damon's true form. Patsy ends up saving Rick and going back through the true form door in order to be made back human. Afterwards, Tony Stark, She-Hulk, and Rick decide to watch over Patsy. Good? Bad? For Patsy, it's hard to say. I thought the art in this series was actually spectacular, and the story was enjoyable whether you know the character and all of her history or you're brand new. They do a really good job of explaining. The Hellcat Limited series is an 8 out of 10. As you guys can tell, I like the Hellcat miniseries. Go check out that trade paperback today. It's definitely worth your while. That's going to wrap things up here for October 25th, 2023. We got kind of a lighter week next week, as DC is going to treat it like a 5th week and Marvel is going to treat it like a 1st week. So we've got some number ones, and then we got some backslide issues, if you will, just some get rid of issues, as I like to say, in the 5th week. Now, that means Marvel's 5th week will come this month, which means the end of November will probably be light for them. Alrighty, guys, that's it for me, Dustin Dry, your bumbling guide to all things comics. I get it wrong just as much as I get it right. The handle is at This Week in Entertainment. That might change. If it does, I'll let you guys know. We appreciate all the feedback. I love the comments. I love the likes. I love all the interaction on Reddit, on all of our different platforms. Please like, comment, subscribe, and until then, let's fade it to black. Let's hit the music.